It's hard. I mean, really talented founders obviously share some characteristics, but for the most part, like all people, they're just wildly different from one another. Some founders are extremely talented and obsessed with product. Other founders are really deep technically. Other founders are great inspirational leaders. And so there isn't a go-to way of assessing and saying, okay, here are the 6 criteria and this founder matches. But in almost all cases, there's something exceptional about the person. And sometimes it's not one person, sometimes it's 2, and they have this incredible way of complementing one another. And so I can't tell you there's an easy roadmap. If it were easy, my job would be much easier. And it's not. It's easy to get it wrong. That's hard. That's sort of like asking a parent to pick which one of your kids is favorite. I think probably the one I'm most proud of, maybe a much more recent investment, an investment I made in 2011. It has yet to become a wildly successful company, though it's certainly done some very interesting things, and that's a business called Pinterest. And I think that's neat because it happened at a time when everyone understood already in the venture community the power of these social media sites and how attractive they could be and how quickly they could grow. And here was one in Palo Alto, under the nose of lots of investors who are based in Silicon Valley, and yet somehow everyone overlooked it. And I think in part because it didn't fit the pattern. You were asking before about what's the pattern of a great entrepreneur, and there were 2 or 3 folks who had started Pinterest, none of whom was an engineer. And that was sort of against the pattern of, most of these companies were founded by folks who could really successfully code a website, and none of them could. And so I think a lot of people looked at it and said, "Oh, doesn't fit the pattern," moved right on. And I think part of it was we discovered at the right time. Part of it, one of my colleagues is a woman named Sarah who now works at the company, and she was a user. Most of the early users were women, and so she was able to relate to it and help explain to the rest of us what it was really all about. So, one of the investment themes I'm most excited about is this concept of some people call it a vertical marketplace, some people call it an end-to-end marketplace. Probably the best example that people can relate to most easily now is Uber. You don't think of Uber as a marketplace because you will pick up your phone and say, "Here's where I am, please pick me up." But in reality, behind the scenes, there's an entire marketplace of drivers who are in some way, shape, or form not really competing for your business, but vying through a marketplace mechanism to figure out who's going to be the one that picks you up. And Uber masks all of that and just makes it a really simple, elegant experience. And as a result, it's actually increased the size of the market for private car service substantially because it's so much easier than it ever was before. And one of our beliefs, or one of my hypotheses, is that we're going to see lots of markets get transformed by these end-to-end marketplaces where someone comes along and may peel off one particular segment of eBay or Craigslist, which are the leading horizontal marketplaces in the US, and just tailor an experience just for that one specific application to make it really compelling. And I think New York is an interesting place to do some of these things for a variety of reasons, but one of the challenges is that it's not just about building software the way many of the early web businesses were. There's often some element of logistics or more complicated aspects to the business. And a lot of those companies, i.e. a lot of the e-commerce industry, tend to be built in places like New York where it's not just about software, it's more than software. And so I'm hopeful, but we got a long way to go.